Good day, everyone. My name is Ted Gardner. I'm a Senior Portfolio Manager on Westwood Salient's Energy Infrastructure team. Today, I'm just going to run through a few things that transpired during the month of January. Starting with returns, it was a flattish month for the broader infrastructure space, with AMA and AMEI both being up a little bit less than 1%. However, the MLP index, AMZ, actually performed pretty well at 4.4% following the announcement of the acquisition of NuStar by Sunoco. Broader energy didn't fare as well, was flattish to down 5.5%. And then the clean energy ETFs were hit very hard as we saw a reversal from the strength that occurred during the second half of December. And that also coincided a little bit with rates backing up a bit. On the commodity front, oil was up about 6%, but natural gas, both domestically and globally, were down significantly due to a warm winter. Looking at the returns within the categories of our benchmark, the C Corps on average were down about 0.5% for the month, although there was some strength in some names, with Hess Midstream being up about 7% and the Plains C Corp up about 3.4%. MLP average was up 5.5%. Again, that was driven by the announcement of the NuStar acquisition, which was up almost 18%. Notably, Sunoco was the lowest return within that category during the month. After announcing that acquisition, it was down about 80 basis points. The Canadians were up 2.1% on average, and that was led by Gibson, which was up 6.6%. As I mentioned a couple of times already, on January 22nd, Sunoco announced that it was acquiring NuStar Energy at a valuation of about $7.3 billion in an all-stock transaction. Notably, Sunoco is controlled by Energy Transfer, and Energy Transfer actually tried to buy NuStar several years ago, but NuStar was not in the market to sell it. We believe that Energy Transfer used the Sunoco currency in this transaction because Sunoco has been trading at a higher multiple than Energy Transfer, and therefore could offer a premium and have it still be economically accretive to Sunoco. Obviously, the consolidation phase has been in place for a while, and we often get questions about who's next. So popular thought is that companies with $1 billion or so in EBITDA are the easiest targets or the most likely targets. And that's kind of broadly thought among analysts in the buy-side community. So we put together a table where we show the names that are in one or more of the Alerian indices. And we took the cutoff a little bit higher, and we used $2 billion of EBITDA as the threshold. So in this table are all those names that have $2 billion or less. NuStar has been announced already. We put that at the top of the table. And we think that the other names above the dotted line are the most likely candidates in the near term. But again, these aren't predictions. We'd also note that there are some names that are well above $2 billion in EBITDA that some folks have thought would be acquisition targets as well. So starting with Hess M, or Hess Midstream, the reason we think this is a likely candidate is that the parent company, or Hess, announced that it would be acquired by Chevron back in October. And there's actually precedent for Chevron to roll in a midstream affiliate after acquiring its upstream parent company, as Chevron acquired Noble Energy back in July of 2020. And by March 2021, it had also acquired Noble Midstream. So to us, it seems likely that Chevron would roll Hess Midstream in as well, but it could also very well sell it to a third party. Equitrans is next. There was actually an article in December on Bloomberg that suggested that they were now exploring strategic alternatives, which is almost always means that they're up for sale. So we had anticipated that the company may try to monetize at some point after the Mountain Valley Pipeline finally came online, and that is imminent. So this very well could be a candidate in the near term as well. DT Midstream was a spinout of Detroit Edison a few years ago, and even at the spinoff, many people thought that it would eventually be acquired. However, we do believe that there would have to be a very attractive premium for a transaction to occur. And then Kinetic is actually controlled by Apache and two private equity firms. It was a company called Altus Midstream before, which was originally spun out of Apache. And then they merged with Eagle Claw, which was backed by the two private equity companies. So we do see Apache actively selling blocks of shares every now and then. And it's thought that at some point in the not too distant future that the private equity players would look for some sort of exit as well. So we believe that that could be a candidate over the next year or two also. The remaining names below the line are all sorted by EBITDA. I'd say there are varying degrees of probability on these names. Some we think are pretty unlikely, some we think could definitely happen, and then the rest are somewhere in the middle. So again, we would note that this is not meant to be an exhaustive list of acquisition targets or any predictions. There could certainly be some larger names acquired, and it's also entirely possible that nobody on this list will be acquired. We just wanted to give you a feel for how we're thinking about consolidation going forward. If you have any questions, please reach out to your Westwood representative. Thank you.